Hello, mathematical literacy learners. Welcome to Interest Lesson 8. We're still doing Term 1 topics for Paper 1 as well. Let's continue. The most important thing to learn when it comes to interest is the difference between interest and interest rate. The interest and the interest rate are related. They work hand in hand. Interest is money and interest rate is a percentage. So what is interest? So we say interest is the amount of interest that will be added to your loan or an investment. So it's added, it's extra amount, right? So, and then we say interest rate is a percentage used to calculate the amount of interest that is charged. It's what we use to calculate interest, and then interest is, of course, the extra money that will be added to your loan or an investment. So how do we calculate it? On our grade 12 syllabus, we have simple interest and compound interest. So let's know the difference. So you can either calculate interest according to the simple interest and according to the compound interest, depending on the agreement between the borrower and the lender, or the investor and the institution, right? So let's start with simple interest. Simple interest simple interest is calculated only on the principal amount and is the same every time we calculate interest. It doesn't change. The reason it doesn't change is because we use the same amount to calculate. So if you borrowed 100 Rand at a simple interest, every time we need to calculate the interest that you need to pay, we go to that 100 Rand. So it doesn't change every single month. It stays the same. And then, okay, let's try an example to see what we mean when we say simple interest is calculated on the principal amount and it stays the same. That information that we've just learned, let's apply it. Now remember, we said there's interest and there's interest rate, right? Interest is the extra amount that is added when we've taken out a loan, or when you've put in an investment. It's the extra amount you get from an investment or pay on a loan. And then we say interest. Interest is a percentage that we use to calculate interest. So if we're going to calculate interest, what do we need? We need interest rate. All right. Jan wants to buy a bicycle. He then borrowed 800 Rand from his uncle. This is going to be our principal amount. The borrowed money is going to be our principal amount. So it's the loan itself. That's what we are going to calculate interest on. And promised to pay it back in 3 months. So now this is the duration of the loan at a simple interest rate. And then it tells us the type of interest of 5% per annum. Okay, so simple interest rate, and then it gives us the interest rate of 5% per month. So this 5% is going to be for every month. So every month that goes by, 5% is added. Now remember, we did do a part where we were talking about how you don't add 5% to 800 Rand. You first go and you calculate the 5%. So we have to find out how much is 5%. So the question says determine the total amount Jan will pay. Okay, let's just go through the information that we're given. How much did Jan borrow? Jan borrowed 800 Rand, right? So this is going to be the principal amount. And what is the interest rate? So this is the loan. We also have an interest rate. So how much is the interest rate? The interest rate is 5% per month. So we know that every month, this is the percentage we're going to use to calculate. And then for how many months? 3 months. So this is the duration of the loan. This is the duration. So, okay, so it's 3 months. So for 3 months, we're going to go around calculating the interest, right? So now we can calculate it. The question says the total amount Jan will pay. Now the question doesn't say determine the interest, right? It says the total. Okay, so they want to know when the interest is there with the 800 Rand, how much is Jan going to pay? But we don't know the interest. We just know the interest rate and the number of months. So what you do is you first find out what the interest. So in the first month, let's calculate the interest. So in the first month, interest is equal to, what was the principal amount? 800 rand multiplied by 5% so that we can know how much. And then that will give you, if you press the calculator, it will give you 40 bucks. Okay, so this is my interest for the first month, right? And then I say the second month. Remember, we said that with a simple interest, right? With simple interest, the interest is calculated on the loan amount or on the principal amount. So nothing's going to change. Every month when we calculate interest, we're going to go straight to the 800 rand. Okay, so in the second month, let's calculate the interest there. 800 times 5% gives us 40 rand, right? Third month, that's the last month, right? Okay, don't be lazy when it comes to Mathslit. It helps you to get to that level 7. 800 times 5%, and that's, we get 40 rand. So now I'm realizing that he got 40 rand in the first month, 40 rand in the second month, 40 rand in the third month, and then they want to know how much is the entire money that he must pay. And that's okay, because I can just add it up. Equal to, how much does he owe the person? He still has to pay the 800 rand, remember? Plus, in the first month, he has to pay 40 rand, plus a 40 rand for the second month was added, plus a 40 rand for the third month. Total is 920 rand. And this is the amount that he will have to pay. You see how simple the simple interest is. Okay, let's move on to, so compound interest is calculated on the total balance that included interest. Interest is different every time. So every month, so if you calculate interest in the first month and it's 40 rand, in the second month it's not going to be 40 rand because you cannot use the same amount. Why? The balance changed, right? Okay, so let's just get on to the example. We're going to take the same example that we used for simple interest. The only difference now is that we're going to use the compound interest method. So Gyan wants to buy a bicycle. He then borrowed 800 rand from his uncle. Remember the principal amount, 800 rand. And then the loan is 800 rand and promised to pay it back in 3 months at a compound interest rate of 5% per month, compounded monthly. Okay, so now let's look at how much has he borrowed. He's borrowed 800 rand and he's going to pay it over a period of 3 months, right? And every month there's going to be interest, but we're going to add the interest as well in the second month when we're calculating his interest. How do we do that? Okay, so let's just first the basics. He borrowed 800 rand. This is the money we're going to start with. And then the interest rate is 5%. Why do I keep saying 50? It's 5%. So the interest rate is 5%. And we're going to do it over a period of 3 months. First month. So now we're going to calculate interest. How much do we have? When it comes to compound, we always say, how much do we have? So we have, there's nothing else, we just have 800 rand. So that's what we're going to calculate interest on. Interest is equal to 800 times 5%, and we get 40 rand, right? So now we're going to go to the second month. In the second month, we're going to say, how much do we have now, right? We had a loan of 800 rand, and then on that loan, an interest of 40 rand was added. Okay, we don't have 800 anymore. We have 840 that we have to pay. So first calculate the balance. The balance now is 800 plus 40 rand, and that gives us 840 rands, right? So this is the balance. So even though last month we borrowed 800 rand, it doesn't matter anymore because now we owe 800 rand and 40 rand. So 840 rand, right? So this is the way the interest is going to be calculated. So now let's calculate the interest on this month. So we're going to use 840 rand, which is the balance, and then we're going to multiply that by 5%, and then we get 42 rands, right? And then We say, okay, we're done with this month. And then we go to the third month, which is also the last. Okay, so third. Okay, so now we need to know how much do we have. So it's very important with compound interest that every single time you're calculating interest, you do this. Otherwise, you're going to calculate the simple interest. Okay, so this time we have the balance of, so this time the balance is 882 Rand multiplied by 5%, and then we get 44 Rands and 10 cents, right? And then so now, we're good now. So now we can say what is the total, because we're done. The total is equal to 882 Rands. Okay, let me not shortcut it. 882 Rands. Okay, so let me not shortcut it and say, at first we borrowed 800 Rand, so we owe these people 800 Rand, and then in the first month they added 40 Rand as interest, in the second month they added 42 Rand as interest, and in the third month they added 44 Rand and 10 cents as interest, and in the end we ended up owing 926 Rand and 10 cents. Okay, so one more thing that we need to note that is that interest can be calculated on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a half-yearly basis, and it can also be calculated annually, right, every year. So let's just look, what is annually? Annually is every year, so it's calculated once a year at the end of the year, per annum, right? What is half-yearly? It's half-yearly means that the year is divided into two, half. That means every 6 months they calculate the interest, and then another 6 months passed, so in a year it will be calculated twice. Quarterly, how many quarters are in a year? There's 4, 8, 12, 6, no, 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh, okay, there's 4. And then it will be calculated 4 times. So from January to April, then they calculate the interest. January to March, they calculate the interest. April to June, they calculate the interest. July to September, they calculate the interest. November to December, calculate interest. That's the quarterly. Monthly is obvious. Every month, at the end of the month, they calculate interest. And then daily is just every day. Okay, so I don't know if there's weekly as well, but we all know what that is. So there's also another part of interest where interest applies, and that is the hire purchase. A hire purchase is when you buy something on credit. So you take something on credit, like furniture, for example. That's the best example, actually. Furniture, where you take it on credit, and then you pay a little by little every month, depending on the arrangement between the buyer and the seller. So usually we use simple interest for hire purchase agreements. And sometimes you are expected to first pay a deposit, right? So if you go and you buy, maybe let's say a table on credit, right? The table's 800 Rand, and you're going to be expected maybe to pay 100 Rand. So when you pay the deposit of 100 Rand, you no longer owe the shop 800 Rand. You say 800 minus 100 Rand, so now you owe 700 Rand. So you've already paid 100 Rand. That will be part of your total payment. Very important, because they like to ask such questions. Okay, so now let's get the definition in, and then we're going to go to calculations. Hire purchase is a financial agreement between the shop and the customer about how the customer will pay for the desired product. Like I said, it's purchasing on credit. You agree with the seller, or as a seller, you agree with the customer how the payment arrangement. You're going to pay me 100 Rand a month, and I'm going to put an interest of so and so, right? So it's not that complicated. It's a simple process. So they do ask questions like, why do you think people would buy on credit even though there's interest added? Remember, if you buy on credit, there's going to be that extra money that's going to be added. So why would someone buy on credit knowing? Okay, so let's say you want to buy a table for yourself to study, and you don't have 800 rand, so you're like, okay, can I take the table and pay little by little? But you're going to have 100 rand every month and for the next 8 months, so you take the table on credit and then you pay, but then you might end up paying 900 to 1000 instead, because now the seller would expect to make more money from you. All right, so Metsi decided to buy the following lawnmower, which was advertised as follows: a brilliant lawnmower on special. Now only 23,099 rands. Save 900 rand. Okay, first of all, that's a cash price and it's already on discount. It was subtracted first and then you have 23,099. So the 900 rand is already subtracted. Don't think that you still have to know. They will give you the price after the discount has been taken away, and then they will tell you what was taken away, right? Okay, so if you buy on installment or what we call a hire purchase agreement, then you would have to pay a deposit according to them of 2,300 rand. Once you've paid the deposit, then you have to pay 975 rand for 36 months, right? Write down the special cash price of the lawn mower. That is not complicated at all. The price is on special for how much? 23,099. So that's nice. The 23,099, and then it says determine the price of the lawnmower before the special. Now they're saying if this lawnmower was not on special, how much would we'd be selling it for? So this discount would not have happened. Therefore 23,099 rand plus 900, right? Since it was taken away, let's put it back. So now it would be 23,099 plus 900. Let's see. Yes, that's it. So it will be 23,999 rand. Okay, so what percentage of the original cash price is the saved amount? So now they want to know the 900, which is the saved price, right? The saved amount. So if we buy this on cash, we will save 900 rand. Now they want to know what is the percentage of this discount. Now remember, this discount did not come out of 23,099. It came out of the original price, which is 23,999. And they've told us they've actually made it easy for us here, because they say it's off the original cash price. So what you do is whatever you're calculating interest for, you write on top. So you say percentage is equal to, and you say 900 rand, because that's the one we want the percentage, right? Then you write it on top, and then you divide it by the original price, as they've said those themselves, and then you press your calculator. The reason I'm not doing this is because we're going to do a lot of questions, and you will see, let me just give you the answers on this one. Metsi decided to buy the lawnmower on a hire purchase. Calculate the total amount that she will pay for the lawnmower. Okay, so let's see. Total amount that she will pay if she buys on credit. She's going to pay first the deposit of 2,300. With that, we already know. She has to put that down. And then the month ends, and then she pays 975. Another month end. So how many times is she going to do that? 935 times. So she's going to pay 975 rand times 36, which will give us 35,100. And then on top of that, remember the deposit. So plus the deposit, and the total that she will pay is 37,400, right? Okay, so calculate how much Metsi would have saved had she bought the lawnmower at cash. So how much is the cash price first? The cash price is 23,099 now that it's on sale. And then if she pays on credit, she's going to pay 37,400. Already you can see 23,000 and 37,000. There's a huge difference, right? So let's check how much extra is this money is she paying. 37,400, which is she's paying on the hire purchase, minus the cash price, she's paying 14,301 more than the cash price, right? Okay, I hope this helps. Goodbye.